What did your school say? We're back with another video, and today, as you can see, this is a different video. It's not an analysis, it's a tutorial video. Because you guys mentioned in a comment that I could show some tricks with the mixer or cuts, basically a bit of handling, a bit more advanced than the mixing table. Just move up one channel and then the other with the finger, the way we like it. Not just that, but also get more out of the mixer and pull off some tricks. A bit more expert, right? So without further ado, as I always say, it's showtime. Well, for those who ask, first of all, this is the Pioneer DJ1000, a controller, not a mixing desk as such of audio. But it is a controller that controls Record Box, which is a computer program. And well, here we have loaded on this track, on track 1, we have loaded a kick, just a bass drum. And on track 2, we have loaded a hi-hat loop and have loaded these 2 tracks. Because what we're going to do to start with the parents, so that when you perform you're a bit more professional, more innovative, and don't just do what everyone else is doing. 90% of the jokers, what it means is to raise one track and then gradually raise the other. And that bass and really get the crowd going. So we're going to create some structure to show you, and so that you can practice them at home. You have to be very patient, practice a lot, and with that and with a lot of time putting in the hard work, it won't come out at first, it won't then. Well, what we're going to do is drop this kick. There we have it playing. We've made a loop so it doesn't end, and on this one we have the hi-hat, a hi-hat loop. Then first the theory, a bit of theory. As you're seeing here between kick drum beats, there's a blank space. That blank space, that's where, let's say, the hi-hat of cymbal number 2 comes in. So the sequence would be bass drum, hi-hat, bass drum, hi-hat, bass drum, hi-hat. This is what it's going to sound like, right? When we have both playing, it's going to sound boom, 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 bass drum. Ha-ha, bass drum, ha-ha. So if we want to make some cuts, what we need to do is wait for the kick drum to sound, and right behind that, let's add the hi-hat. We're going to start with the basics and then we'll move on. Adding more difficulty. Here our kick would be playing. What we're going to do is have this bass drum going. We're not going to touch the channel. We're just going to bring it up with quick hits on the hi-hat that's on this plate. First we need to mix it. It would be mixed already, and with the channel turned down we have it. We need to mix beforehand with our cube. Once it's mixed in there, what we need to do is wait for the bass drum to hit here and raise this channel immediately. Now we're going to do it a bit faster. Doing it faster than that is not possible because there's only bass drum hi-hat, bass drum hi-hat. If we did it faster, the next sound after the hi-hat would overlap. So it has to be done right after the bass drum sounds. You could start by turning it up slowly at first, 1 1 1 1, and then speed it up 1 1 1 1 1. The cut is very fast, so that only the hi-hat sounds, and we immediately lower it. Now we do it more often. It is the basics. Do it at the slowest speed you can to make it easier. The further away, you have to do it slower. Because when you start getting the hang of it, you can speed it up and do the tricks at the speed you usually DJ, 140 to 142. 144 to the one I accompanied the most. Come on, the faster, the more cuts you need to make, and it gets more complicated. We've seen the beginning, now let's step it up. Next step, right? And what we're going to do as we bring up channel 2 to add the hi-hat, we turn down channel 1. I mean, this hand interacts too. We have to use both hands, not just going through the motions, but at the same time as we lower channel 1, we raise channel 2 Wow! Boom, boom. Remember, this channel is the one with the kick, so that's why I go boom, boom. And then you can speed up the printing. To perform this trick, it's best to have channel 2, which has the hi-hat, turned down so that when you do the, immediately lower the 1 and then I turned up 1 and turned down 2. I turned up 2 and turned down 1, and so on. We kept turning up 2 and turning down 1. At the same time, as I raised it 2, I must lower the 1 at the same speed and with the same intensity for the audio effect to be correct. And then the next step would be to make combinations, not just punti punti punti, but do punti 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 punti. The sequence of switching from one to the other is quicker to create the tumbling effect. Tick tick, like the rhythm of reggaeton, chung 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 chung. I can make any combinations I like, right? There's also another typical cut, the one everyone tends to do, which is the most basic, putting in the kick, right? You go bam, bam, and just let it go. In this case, this track would be playing... That is the most basic and easiest cut to perform. So once you have mastered those little cuts, we can increase the speed, for instance, to 144. And now let's check out the cuts a bit quicker, which is trickier. When performing the check, 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 depending on how fast you put it in and how fast you take it out, the effect will be one or the other. If you leave it a millisecond higher, is going to sound more hi-hat. And if you leave it shorter, hi-hat will sound much shorter. The sound effect is a very short hi-hat. If you leave it a bit longer, the hi-hat gets a bit longer. It's a very short hi-hat. If I let it sound a bit more, the hi-hat gets longer. The shortest is... That's the difference between making the cuts faster or slower, right? And as I've said, once you have it going faster, we can start with the chick, 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 and then doing the chekun, 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 chekun. And that's already like the most advanced level, doing it very fast. Making sequence cuts as you wish, chung chi, chung chi, chung chi. Or leave one down and continue with the hi-hat making cuts. For example, that would be the sequence. Then your creativity comes into play. Whatever you want to highlight, whether the hi-hat or the kick, you leave one up and one down. Anyway, when you have practiced a lot, this almost comes naturally to you, right? Doing cuts in a natural way. One way or another, you just have to think about what you want to do and do it. When we already have two tracks, the things change a bit, because if we put a track with all the frequencies, it will also have hi-hat vocals. In short, it will have a lot of things. Then performing the tricks. Let's say audibly is not that easy, because it's not just the kick and the hi-hat alone. You have all the frequencies, both of you. But well, when you already know how to master this, do it with the full track playing the exact same thing, depending on the track you choose, or the one that's playing the effect of making the chikun, 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 it will sound better or worse. Because if this track doesn't have the hi-hat very pronounced, doesn't have the shake, but it has a, with a hi-hat, maybe a continuous ti-ti-ti-ti-ti-ti, like a shaker, you can't do the... because it doesn't have that sound, so you can emphasize it. So when making the cuts, When you have a lot of experience and hear a theme, who knows the difference and will say, wow, with this track, it would be cool to do the cut of chun, 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 chun. And you guys choose where, depending on which track you're going to make the cuts with. Not everything works because it doesn't look good with everything. We're going to load 2 whole tracks now and do the trick. Let's start by only raising the hi-hat. Let's see if this hi-hat is pronounced and lends itself to making the cuts. As you see, when the track is playing with all its tracks, the trick of making the chick 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 sound is almost unnoticeable. So let's say it's not effective, it's not cool to do it because it really doesn't show. Then when it's time to make the cuts, you can also add a twist, and instead of cutting at full volume of how much, when you hit the high notes, they are there, the maximum, you start making the cuts from the top, and then you make the cuts, but you don't reach the top. So the cuts are made at a slightly louder volume, low. As I said, we'll start by making the cuts first hitting the top, and then we'll lower it a bit, but we have to keep mixing. And now we can also move on to when we have 3 tracks. Not to see how we do the tricks with 3 tracks because we only have 2 hands to make the cuts. Let's set up 3 loaded tracks and see what happens. We can do it. There we already have 2 tracks. Let's go. We also have the third one mixed and we're going to make random cuts to see how we can do it. Obviously, to notice some kind of change, when making cuts, we have to turn down channel 1, which has the bass. There we can drop the 1 and bring in the 4. At some point when we are making the cuts, one of the channels has to stay up, so we have a free hand to bring up channel 1, which has the bass. So we make our cuts, leave a channel up, our hand gets freed, and we move it to the bass channel and the other to another channel, and that's it. I'm evil, huh? You can lower 2 channels with just 1 hand. Anyway, we can do thousands of things. While lowering both channels, we enhance the frequencies of the channel that keeps playing. And so, to wrap it up, for instance, we can remove channel 4 by doing a backspin. I remind you that whenever you do a backspin, make sure the channel you're going to use isn't giving you trouble. Make sure the volume is maxed out, because otherwise the effect sounds too loud and doesn't come out right. And when performing the backspin, it's best that the bass channel lower a bit or the touch. We've got this part down, just lower a bit to perform backspins. It's still heard over here. You go, throw the backspin, lower the channel, and with the other hand bring it up. Let's do it now with this one. A little lower, so instead of a backspin, we can guide it by hand. While I accompany it with my hand, for this one, I need to lower the channel so the effect I'm doing stands out and is appreciated better. I have to keep up with it by hand to the rhythm of the session playing. Can't do it in pieces. It has to be next to the website to what is sounding. Anyway, these are tricks that require a lot of practice. And once you master them, you will greatly enrich your sessions. So that's it. I hope that hope these little tricks have been useful, that you practice them at home and that the cueing has become quite clear. So stop the minute where it is or play it 350 billion times, and when you have seen me do it, I will try. And you at your home, and you'll see that with time. With a lot of practice and effort, you'll get there. There's one last thing. If you do it with a real mixing console, For instance, a pitch 800, a pitch 900, or rather an audio desk, not a controller like this one. It'll work out better in the cuts. The sound effect, or it comes out better because the signal from, for example, the CDJ turntable comes in directly, and when you lower the channel, it cuts it off directly. In controllers like this, like the Pioneer, since it's a controller and is, let's say it's plugged into the computer, it has what's called latency, which is a responder time between when you press any button, it sends it to the computer, and the computer, let's say, performs the action. That time is usually about 1 to 3 milliseconds, some 5 anyway. Each controller tends to have its own timings, and anyone mixing by raising one channel and then the other gradually, they won't notice that move, won't feel the latency, and will say it's running perfectly. When you make these very quick cuts without having a real mixing desk, you'll feel it. So that's it. I hope you like this video. So ato mo ya so tutorial, and just practice it at your home. I hope it's very fruitful for you, and that's it. See you next time, guys. Goodbye. Hit like, subscribe, and share it.